Hi everybody, this is just a basic tutorial of Blackboard. I'm going to walk you through how to negotiate and basically use Blackboard for the music theory class. So let's get started. First of all, you'd go to the WCC homepage and log on to Blackboard. So you use Student Dashboard, and by clicking on Student Dashboard you'd see Blackboard. I'm obviously going to go to Faculty Dashboard because I'm not a student. And so then you log on, and you're going to see on the left-hand side or in the center, depending upon how your screen is set up, you'll see your courses. So I'm going to go ahead and log into the music theory class, one of the music theory classes. You'll see on the left-hand side, it'll always come up on announcements. And so I will post an announcement every week or week and a half or so, basically just kind of reminding you of what's coming up and going over any problems. There's the instructor contact, so you can basically use that to go ahead and click on there and get my email. I also put the same Zoom address that we'll be using for classes and office hours. So it's the same, it's one Zoom link for everything. It just basically means even if it says that it's for your time for the class, I'll be basically using one meeting for all classes. That also means that you can go ahead, and if you want to attend another class or come to more than one class, you can do so. Emails, you can use this especially to contact other student users. So if you want to go ahead and find somebody that's in the class, you want to contact them, that would be the way to do that. Here's the Zoom meeting address that we'll be using for everything, for all classes and for office hours. So just click on the link there, or just keep track of the meeting ID, and you can just put that in that way. All right, the biggest thing for the first week is we have the course orientation. The course orientation basically just walks you through what it is we're going to be doing. This is where you enter your code. The code you can purchase at the bookstore. It's a little bit more expensive, or you can purchase it online. Basically just write submission, paste the code in here, and then click submit, and it comes to me. And within a day, usually, sometimes even less, I'll approve the code. The reason the code is there and the reason you have to pay for the code is because that covers the cost of all the royalties and the embedding of websites and things like this into the class. So all your materials will be released once you enter the code and I approve it. Okay. All right. Then you have a basic course orientation quiz, which walks you through essentially, did you read everything that was in the course? The course syllabus, the course activity schedule. Are you familiar with what's going on? That's really all that is. It's nothing more than that. This is a course entrance exam assessment. This is just to see if you know any music theory, what you know. So you want to go ahead and do this prior to the first class if possible, and that lets me know. And if you don't know any of it, by the way, that's no problem either, because this is what we're taking the class for. All right, then the primary content for everything in your class is here. Basically, everything goes through the learning units, the assignments, everything. So it's all set up that you go through the learning units. I'm going to click on learning units. The course schedule is there. That's the activity schedule. It's also located under syllabus and schedule, so you can go down there and download your syllabus and your activity schedule. But otherwise it's here as well. So this is fall 20 schedule. You'll notice that when you click on it, it'll ask you to download. I encourage you to download it and look at it about twice each week. Once before the class and then once after the class, to know exactly what you have to do. So here's the week, and then it says what we're going to be covering. So the course orientation is what we're covering for the first week. And then basically it tells you what to do. So you want to go in, do the course orientation quiz, your music assessment quiz, and post the Unit 1 end of unit discussion board. So basically this is the end of unit discussion board is basically that's where you post the assessment if you do the assessment. All right, then you enter your code, and then there's another discussion board, which is just basically an introductory discussion. So it's basically you go over to the discussion board, which is down here under discussion boards, and you'll see it's basically an introduction, you telling us a little bit about yourself. So course orientation, personal profile, and experience. This just basically acquaints us with what I refer back to this occasionally if I'm trying to grade you and I'm wondering, like, so what was it that they were doing again? This gives me a record of what your career goals are, what your experience is, and what your plan or usage for music is. You'll be placed in tracks based on this, just FYI. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go back to the learning units. And so let's go into a sample unit. So after the first week, we'll be going in here. So you'll have basically, on average, between 2 and 5 modules, or 2 and 4 modules per unit. And so each module is set up very simply. There's an introduction. Basically, it explains kind of what this module is about. It explains the content that will be in the module. And then you just basically have the content in priority and prioritization. It'll have a basic reading, which is usually just a few pages overview of whatever it is we're covering. So it might be about pitches and rhythm, or it might be, in this particular case, about career, self-assessment, making sure that you think about your career goals and that you understand what you want to do, because this is a language class, and if you're going to speak a language, you better know what it is you want to do with it. So that's kind of what this is. Just to be really clear, the one thing I want to emphasize to everybody is we're learning for ourselves. And so all of these assignments are set up so that we are placed in tracks based on your career goals and your experience. And then in addition, you have the opportunity of doing alternative assignments or replacing assignments and dialoguing that with me. So we have a variety of options that are built into the class. So we'll go over that. All right, so you have the basic reading content. You take some notes on that, whatever it is. It's based, again, upon your experience and your interest. There's usually a video overview of core topics. So if you're a better, listener and oral and visual trainer, you can play the videos, and it basically goes over the topics as well. And then you have the assignments that are there. And again, follow the assignments in the activity schedule, because there will be some assignments in here that are not required. These are assignments that you could do if that's your interest. So as an example, the personal assessment assignment is an assignment that may not be required, or you may be able to do that or another assignment. All right, and then we have at the bottom, usually there are additional resources. So if you're really concerned about work-life balance, which might be a problem for some of us, especially right now, or you have maybe a little bit of a negative attitude about schooling and doing homework or something like that, you might want to look at some of these other things, because they help motivate you and try to create some kind of a feel for what it is you want to do. And every unit has this. Every module has these additional resources. The ones that are not required, again, you don't have to do them, but if you decide you want to do them, then obviously they're there for you. Okay. So pretty much every learning unit is set up. We have a total of 5 units. One is just kind of career music path, exploration, self-actualization, and learning to set up a practice discipline, which is really critical for music theory. Then we have a deeper listening process, which is learning basic elements of music, understanding what rhythm is, what form is, what texture or arrangement is, what rhythm is, what pitch and melody or pitch and harmony are. And then obviously we're going to get into understanding how to transcribe music, particularly what we call sonographing. So that's Unit 2. Unit 3 is pitches and rhythm. It basically the components of reading music and transcribing music. So it's the kind of the home base or ground zero for music theory. And then we have introduction to keys, scales, and major and minor keys. And then we get into chords, which is basically intervals, chords, chord progressions. And of course, we'll also have some composition, writing music, things along the line. And then we basically go on from there into specific things. You'll notice at the bottom, there's also a voice thread. You can leave a voice thread, a particular comment that you want to go ahead and banter ideas with other people in the classes. And so I encourage you to do that. We used to have all of our classes together rolled into one, which was really better. Unfortunately, right now they won't allow us to do that. I'm not really clear on why. And then here's a week 1 overview that basically kind of goes over some of the things that we'd be covering in class. And I'll be posting these up under your learning units as we go along. Okay, so that's basically the overview. Now I want to just go over and just look at my grades, and you'll look at my grades and you'll see kind of everything that is there. These are upcoming. When the grade is posted, it'll be there. In some cases, you'll post something, let's say an orientation quiz, it'll grade automatically. In other cases, when we get into the track system, you'll do an assignment and there are multiple tracks. And you'll do the assignment. It may sit there for a few days until I get around to grading it. That's because I have to manually move them over into the grade track. So you don't have 3 tracks in your grading column. You only have the grade track. So just so you know, we have this set up with individual tracks so that you are doing homework based on your particular skill level. those tracks, then the grades are moved over by me manually, and so sometimes there's a little bit of a time delay between the time you take the assignment and I post it. Just to show you how the tracks work, when you get into the learning units and you go to an assignment, and I'm going to go down here where the tracks kind of really start. So from the end of Unit 2 on to Unit 5, everything is in tracks. So if you go here to Module 8, or let's do Module 9, and we go down here, you'll see Module 9, note identification, level 1 track, level 2 track, level 3 track. This is based on the tracks that you'll be assigned. Okay, so if I'm assigned for level 2 track, I'll take that assignment there, and then I go on and click on begin. Okay, so just so you know, is once we get into tracks, that's the way that works. Okay. All right, then there's always suggested material. Suggested material is any additional material. So if you're having trouble understanding, clefs and pitches, or you want to know more about bass clef, you're great at treble clef, or you're going on to university and you want to know about C clefs, all this additional content is there for you that may not be required, but it's there so that you can learn at your level and based upon your experience, and just so you know, that's entirely there for you. Here's an assignment that isn't required, but if you're doing guitar, you'd want to do it. It's a fretboard exercise. Okay. All right. That's basically it. And then it moves on to the next module or the next learning unit. And I will say that the basic premise for this entire class, our only interest is that you learn for you, and that you learn not for grades, and that you learn to basically increase your musical experience based on what you want to do with music. It's a self-motivated and designed to be kind of based upon your skill sets as much as we possibly can. There are a lot of options for you to be able to be successful. You can take every assignment and every quiz up to 3 times. In fact, we encourage you to take it 3 times, because all these assignments really are is just a way of practicing these skills. So it's not about the grade you get. If you, as an example, do an assignment 3 times and you get a 60 and then a 70 and a 75. A 75 would normally be a C, but I see that you did it 3 times. Okay, that basically means you practiced that assignment 3 times, and I'm able to up the grade on you, particularly when we get to the end in the participation grade, because you practiced 3 times. I mean, that's really how you learn a language. So just so you know, the grading is not definitive. It's not just based on the score. And I round all the scores up as well. The whole idea of this is for you to increase your discipline and your understanding of music and your self-confidence with discipline overall, with regimenting. And in the world we live in, where it's really difficult, there's so many distractions and so many ways to get distracted. That's basically what we're interested in. It's just that you increase your discipline. Okay, I'm basically done. I think you have a basic understanding of how Blackboard works. At the bottom, there are a whole bunch of extra resources. So if you go down to the bottom here, you'll see sheet music and notation websites. So there's a whole bunch of sheet music that you can use to practice reading, and also to download sheet music as well. You have regimen templates. Those regimen templates are also embedded in your other things, so you don't see it right now, but they're embedded in your class, which is basically how do you build a regimen. I encourage you, and we'll talk about that fairly frequently. There are project phases that go along there. So we build a project as we go through the semester, and then you present at the end, which is basically your plan for continuing to be creative with music. And then we have additional resources. So there's an additional e-text for theory. So if anybody feels that something wasn't explained as much as you need, or you want to go on and get more information or try a different approach to that, we have another e-text up here that we've paid for, so that you can go ahead and use that information. And then we also have extra theory practice. These are specific things around chords, rhythm examples, intervals, meter signatures. So you can see there are just a whole bunch of additional assignments that you can practice. And then, as I said before, you get down to the bottom and you see other resources for help. There's also chords for guitar, and then these are the Blackboard resources. So if you need if you have any problems, or you want to reach out for somebody to get assistance with Blackboard, or you want to find some additional content on the library, all of that is there. Okay. I think that's pretty much it. If you have any other problems or any concerns, make sure you reach out to me. Those of you who are using Macintosh are using Apple. We have a lot of tools that we can use on Apple, particularly GarageBand, and we can, of course, use iMovie as well. We'll be using MuseScore in the class. MuseScore is a free download program. So when you go to MuseScore, you just click on MuseScore. Whoops. You click on MuseScore. That was my reminder. I got a meeting coming up, and it's really easy to use. So let's say if I create a new score, I'm going to just continue. Let's just triple click. Okay, and we're done. All right, so you basically go up here, and here's the tool that allows you to go ahead and put in notes, and we'll be using that. You can click on whether you want eighth notes, quarter notes, and we'll be asking you to do stuff with this, and of course, then we can play it, and that's the cool thing about this. Is once you put something up, I didn't put enough there to play, so let's go to the beginning. There we go. All right, so we'll be using MuseScore, and each of you can do a free download. The only other thing I encourage everybody to do is download an app for a metronome. I use Tempo Perfect because it's a free app, and that way you can practice with a metronome. And that's a really critical thing. Everybody wants to be able to do that as well. So, okay, so that's it. I'm done. I hope that's helpful, and if it's not, you can go ahead and either play this again and go through it one more time, or you can contact me by email or bring it up during the class time. All right, everybody, we'll see you soon.